Shalom. Kol Halalim Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom to the prophets of that body, and shalom to the 144,000 and 1/3. May peace and blessings be upon your households, and the spirit of endurance as we approach the end, and Lord willing, sooner rather than later. Right? Now, as you know, technology plays a huge part in our lives, especially in this day and age. There's a lot of stories going around. Whether this, what's the Jake's name again? Darnell Williams? Eric Darnell. All right. They say that he's from the DMV area. This is a fake story. Basically, calling it bullshit. Now, the fact of the matter is, these things happen and have happened numerous times and been happening since our people have been in America and other parts of the world. Okay, the so-called white man, who are the Edomites in the Bible, right, have a perpetual hatred, right, from the womb. We were struggling in the womb. You read the book of Genesis. All right, we were slugging it out in the womb. All right, and two separate nations came out with separate identities. All right, it's two separate nations. Okay, and we are contrary to one another. All right, we do not vibe. It's like mixing oil and water. We don't vibe. The only time we can possibly vibe to a certain degree is if it's a Jake man and an Edomite woman, because the male and female dynamic is there. With the male and female dynamic is there. We are, we got what she wants, and she got what she has what we want. You get my drift, right? But for the most part, you got to be wary of them as well. You got to be wary of everybody, especially in this hell that we're in. But nevertheless, right? The fact of the matter is, they're saying this Jake is missing, all right? And I believe this individual and this individual, I don't know whether they're truck drivers also, but truck drivers are missing, okay? And their tracking systems are falling off the cliff, if I can use that term, meaning that it just goes blank. You can't find them no more. Like the movie in Total Recall, when they put the tracking system in Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then he goes to a specific building where to get it out, and he's given a briefcase to pull the shit out of his head, right? And they can't track him no more. Same thing here. It just went dead, right? And there's numerous truck drivers, and truck driving, especially any part of the world, but especially in the landmass of America, where it's like damn near a whole size of a continent. America is huge. All right, you've got all types of weirdos living in remote parts, Edomites that probably never seen a man of color, probably for, I don't know, they probably just see they probably see brown people on TV, I mean, there's like two opposing sides. You got areas full of crackers where they've never seen a brown person for a long, long, long time. And if they do, they're asking the most weirdest questions, like crackers would ask a Jake in the 1920s or 30s, And then on the flip side, then you got Jake areas, what you call the hood or the barrio or the reservation, where Jake has probably never seen a cracker come on their reservation, an Edomite, or their hood or their barrio for a while, And the fact of the matter is, you can talk all this love shit as much as you want, you Israelites, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and natives. These crackers are coming for you. The only reason when I say Jake, I'm talking about Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. You don't really, you're one of those Israelites, or you're one of those so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians who love everybody else, but you hate your own, is because you live in black and brown areas. You live in the hood, and predominantly 75 to 80% of the people there look like you. So obviously you come across the odd honky, and you can say, he or she's okay. They're all devils. All right? They're all devils. All right? The only reason they're okay with you is because you're the majority in that area. And some of them could be Jake too, Israelite foreigners, but I ain't gonna touch on that. But these Edomites are all devils. So-called white people are all devils. All right, deceivers, evil. That's their nature. They don't like you. And they've shown that to you time and time and time again. And then all these things and incidents are happening, all right, from slavery, from buck breaking, raping young men and children and women in front of their family members during slavery period, even up until up until this day. Jake's being found lynched, hundreds of years ago, even now in different parts of America and different parts of the world. And then these crackers say, oh, they so-and-so committed suicide. They use your skin as, the way leather is used to make wallets, jackets, shoes, right? They use your flesh and grinded it into paste to lubricate the wheels, the wagon wheels of them fucking carriages. They kidnap you, use your melanin so these crackers can inject themselves and try and get that glow. Melanin is more expensive than gold. There's a market for that shit, right? They kidnap you everywhere, men, women, and children. Use your body parts and sell them across the world because we are the superior people. And I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg, but yet there's a hatred for you. You create and invent everything so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. You create all the music, the fashions, the hip talk, the foods, the delicacies, the bourbons, the liquors, the wines. You invented it all, the lemonade, all these things, ice cream, peanut butter, technology. But yet you're hated, okay? You got to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard to get the same job done at work, right? But you still don't get the acknowledgement. But the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yeshua, for the elect that is, keeps you in that job so you can earn your daily bread. There's a natural hatred, all right? And you Jakes, right? A hard head makes a soft ass. I got to learn the hard way, That wacky-tacky fucking Christianity, loving the world and loving everyone, love, 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 The Lord hates too. Exodus 15:3. The Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is a man of war. Right? The Lord is a man. All right? The same emotions we have, the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has it, but in greater, in a more, in a greater way. All right? I'm going to play scripture first. Genesis 27:41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing, wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. And that same temperament, that same vibration has been carrying on up until this day. Okay? They want to slay you. Okay? Esau is basically Cain reincarnated. Cain and Abel. Right? Esau is Cain reincarnated. All right? Now, even the Israelite woman who doesn't know she's an Israelite, I believe is a Northern Kingdom Israelite, so-called Latina or Native Indian, that made a video saying that, how come, she was basically saying there's other people of color, how come they're not as hated as much as a so-called black man? I think she touched on the inventions and the things that I touched on, but she also said it's more deeper than the skin color. How come the so-called white man is setting you people up? Destroying your neighborhoods, leaving guns and this, that, and the third in the neighborhood, and drugs and this, that, and the third, and destroying your communities, putting, single-parent households, which is the same thing happened in the Northern Kingdom, Hispanics and natives too, But that was a spirit on her from Yahweh Hashem Yeshua, where she made that video. She's saying that, that the so-called black man are special people. That's why they're being attacked the way they are, which is true. It's deeper than this complexion. But Esau has emphasized the complexion part as well, that you black this, you black that, When we Israelites, we look normal. It's the only so-called white man that's a fucking anomaly the way he looks, So it's deeper than that. It's a deeper spiritual hatred, which most so-called white people can't put their finger on it. Why they hate the so-called black man. Right? Even if the so-called black man is meticulous and looks like them, is clean shaven, got a fucking, really spruced up so-called looking. You could be the handsomest Jake wearing a suit in the office. They're still not going to like you. Number one, all the white women are going to be swooning over you, which is true. And they're deep down not going to like you. They'll be okay with you because the Lord puts a spirit on certain heathens to be cool with us, to be peaceable with all men, keep our enemies at peace with us, paraphrasing scripture, But for the most part, they're not going to like you. They're not going to like you, man. That's just the way it is. And deep down in their heart, they don't know why they don't like you. So they just think, these fucking niggers, these big rubber lip, rapping, rock and roll singing, jazz musicians, whatever, these entertainers, these monkeys, when they're the monkey with no lips and pale skin and hairy. They don't like you. But if they actually knew, because there's a demon in them that knows the angel or the righteous spirit in you that makes that clash. That's the war, right? And they can't. The regular Joe six-pack honkies don't know what time. They don't know. They just think that they're black people. They're not our people. They're Africans. They're Hamites. They're tree swinging niggers. Puerto Ricans are niggers with straight hair. I've heard that term being used by Nick Nolte in one of the old classic movies. I don't know which crime thriller it was back in the 80s or 90s. But the elites who set everything up in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, because they're the Lord's sword upon us, against the 2/3, right? They know the reason why there's a hatred. But they set up a different dynamic around it. The hatred is simple. We are the special people. We are the chosen, the Israelites, the elect specifically on this side. We got rulership next over the planet Earth and beyond forever and ever and ever. Crackers don't want to go into slavery. Heathens don't want to go into slavery. Hence the reason that's why they're trying to wipe you out. Okay? And this is just an indication in its simplest form where there is that perpetual hatred. All right? Because a lot of these so-called white towns, these sundown towns, are run and owned by the so-called white man. The local sheriff, the police are all part of the KKK or some kind of underground Freemason, skull and bones type-esque type of group that's related to skinheads and other groups. And they believe in the bullshit that's been fed to them by their people, and that hatred is there. And they don't want to be around niggas, which is okay. We don't want to be around these fucking crackers either, And they'll do by anything, by hook or by crook, because they run those towns. Okay? There's a jurisdiction. You disappear. They're not going to do anything about it. Now, had this been a so-called white woman or a so-called white man, guaranteed that his face will be plastered all over the news. There'll be fucking dogs, sniffing dogs or whatever you call them, right? The whole damn town will be looking for them with their torches and their lanterns at nighttime and shit. Now, because it's a so-called black man, right? They don't give a fuck. Oh, it's a black man that died. Somebody will find him. We don't care. It's a nigger. We don't care. The animals anyway. Let them die. That's what they're gonna say. But this is gonna lead to you Israelites waking up, because once the tribe of Judah gets going with this race war, because there's gonna be a time where Jake is gonna say enough is enough. The so-called black man's gonna rise up. Okay, because they're being targeted by ICE. The so-called Hispanic and Native Indian has been already being targeted by ICE, right? So they're both in the same, as they say, they're both in the boat together. So therefore, what do you think that's going to happen? They're going to say, the Lord's going to put spirit on the tribe of Judah, and the other tribes are going to follow, saying, you know what? We've got the same common enemy, and we're both brown people. What the fuck are we doing clashing with each other? Let's go for these crackers and these heathens. And then they're going to go for, these honkies. They're going to go for the heathen. They're going to go for everybody. All right? Genesis 49:9. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion. And as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? You know, Judah is like that lion in the Wizard of Oz, right? Where he needed courage, and that courage is gonna come soon, man. Okay, let's just play the video now, man. Where are we at? I'm gonna play a little bit of it.
All the black truck drivers that y'all see, y'all want to know who killing the truck drivers? All the black truck drivers that y'all see on the news that are found hanging. Who can stop a semi truck? Think about it. Emergency lights, police. See, when we talk about sundown towns, we're not talking about the citizens. We're talking about the police. That's who's doing it.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren and I'm princess in this that is owned by us. Let's watch this.
From Alabama, this is Eric Darnell. He said, all right, Jeff, we got to do our fucking thing. This is Eric Darnell. He's a 38-year-old truck driver, right, from Alabama. He was picking up a load from Tennessee, taking it through Arkansas, right? Never fucking made it. Never made it.
Now Esau probably going to call it fake news and say AI, you know, it's not real news. You know, listen, if the so-called white man owns towns, which they
believe for the last 18 fucking
owns towns which they stole, owns the judges, the lawyers, the infrastructure, they can call the shots. But you niggas want to believe everything the so-called white man tells you. You know, you're not going to dissect it and look into reasoning with it in your own mind through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. Either way, whatever the scenario is, these honkies are devils, and they've proven to you time and time and time again. And you niggas are going to wake up the hard way, man. All right? But the elect, wherever they are across the four corners of the earth, Romans 12:19. All right? Let's go to that scripture. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yashai. Because when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Lord's going to lift up that standard. That's Isaiah 59 and 19. The elect are going to get power when that time comes. All right? The Lord is not going to allow the elect, someone come up to you and punch you in the face and you can't defend yourself. The Lord Yahweh Shem Yashai will give you the power to defend yourself. But the elect are going to be protected like a spiritual cocoon around them to protect them, to avoid situations. If something does come close, the Lord puts a spirit on the enemy to calm down and walk away. You know, that's what the Lord's going to do until that time comes where the Lord's going to let these enemies loose. And then on the same flip side, on the right hand side, the Lord Yahweh Shem is going to amplify that power amongst the elect, amongst his ground troops, as Elder Malcolm would say, elder from GMS Chicago. And subscribe to all the Great Millstone channels if you want to learn from the apostles on down. All right? We're going to wait on Yahweh Shai, man. Rock Yahweh Shai.
Hours. He's spoken to his Arkansas, right? Never fucking made it. Never made it. He's been missing, I believe, for the last 18 fucking hours. He's spoken to his wife last at like 4 something in the morning, and he's told her that he was stopping for coffee, and then he got back in the truck and let her know he was back on the road, and she's not heard from him since. Now, the issue is that I was a trucker, like I said, right? I've driven over the road. I've had huge loads, AT&T, Samsung, $15 million load, police escort. But where this man was going through Arkansas, the truckers, we talk on the little radio, you know, we talk on that. We have text, we have apps for it. They do. I'm not a trucker anymore. Once a trucker, always a fucking trucker. You know what I mean? I'm a trucker. We have those things to communicate, but there was communication pretty much saying that where he was going through Arkansas was sketchy. Truckers were communicating within the last couple of months that the location that Eric was going through, there's been issues of being followed. A lot of people don't understand that trucking is a very dangerous industry. I've had times people trying to break in my truck, whether it was lot lizards, prostitutes, other truckers trying to disable my truck. So right here on the side where the wheels are, there's a kingpin thing, and you can detach the truck from the bed, the body. Just pull that bitch out, twist, pull. There's a way to do it. And if the trucker don't check that every single day, every single night before they pull off, y'all want to know who killing the?
I think that was it. So, yeah. So a lot of truck drivers It's true. It is a very dangerous job.
All the black truck.
Very, very dangerous job. If you think about it. Now, here in the UK, I mean, back in the day, maybe 40 years ago, it'd probably be similar, dangerous to that level. But I've heard some stories similar here in the UK. But America, man, is just huge, and there's remote parts where Jake has never, ever, ever gone to. You know, it's probably been vacant of brown people for probably like for many generations, man. And you show up there, man. You know, and when they see you, it's like an automatic, like the way they have their dogs programmed and trained to sick at any, well, especially an Israelite that's brown skinned, you know, the same way these Edomites switch as well, man. You know, so that race war is going to happen, man. All right, because there's only so much that Jake can take. All right, Jake is already losing his jobs, his woman, his this kingdom is falling. You know, they're now Israelites are being targeted, especially Benjamin and Levi, which are the so-called West Indians and Levites. Sorry, Haitians. You know, Black Americans are going to be targeted. You can say, okay, you're not, you're illegal. They're going to pull out some kind of scenario where they're going to deem them as illegal, or they're going to say, okay, you've committed too many criminal acts. We're going to have to send you off to this island or Guantanamo Bay or some shit like that. They're going to come for all the Israelites one by one. It's called divide and conquer. First, they focused on the northern kingdom. Now they're focusing on your southern kingdom. And the racial hatred has been there. There's going to be a point where the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian are going to come together, and they're going to snap first. The tribe of Judah are going to snap, and then the rest of the tribes are going to follow. The way we follow tribe of Judah now, in terms of flavor and style and lingo and all that, the same way the tribes are going to follow the tribe of Judah when they get down. And you're damn right the Jakes are going to get down. All right? So it is going to be a bloodbath. And these are just the beginning stages of it. And this will amplify very soon. All right? Because these are only, what you're seeing online and in the news is only a smidgen of what's actually going on. These numbers are huge, man. All right? I believe in just Washington, D.C. alone, right, the numbers are definitely increased. I said, they said approximately 3,000 Black women are missing. 3,000, just women alone. And if they're saying 3,000, guarantee that number probably 9,000. Because Esau's going to give you made up figures. The same way they lie about how many honkies are in America. Because they like to count things, don't they? They like to record things. They like to keep records, meticulous records of everything. They know. You know? They know. And how many Black men are probably missing? How many athletes? How many athletes, so-called black athletes, are found, high school students that are found dead, rolled up in carpets in the gyms of their school. And when they get the post-mortem you call it, or once a doctor checks them out, they find out that, damn, all the body parts are missing, the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, or whatever. Because it's sold in the black market. Guaranteed, if a rich, elite Edomite, one of these Rockefellers, these Rothschild motherfuckers, one of the elders or one of the children have some kind of heart issue or some kind of physical issue, guaranteed you're going to hear the death of some so-called black, Judite, so-called black man's death. Okay, it's going to be more than likely an athlete because they want a heart like a racehorse. They want the strongest, They have a heart transplant. They use the body parts of these so-called black people. Because they know where the superiority comes from. Guaranteed. This is what they do. You are a commodity, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. Nothing more than a product for them. And now they want to take that product off the shelf. Second Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Verse 15. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right? For there shall be sedition among men. Verse 16. And invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right? The sedition part is basically people coming together, talking, different groups, different races, this and that. They're going to say this, now the third is going on. You know the way women commiserate? Men are going to be coming together, reasoning, saying, yo, this is the problem. Crackers are coming together. They're saying, these niggers, these wogs, they're the problem. Same thing happening in the UK, you know? And then you got our people, you know, that want to fight physically right now. They don't want to wait on Yahweh Shai, right? They're going to get down. But that's prophecy anyway, so the 2/3 are going to get down like that. You know? They're coming together, saying, you know, that they want to do something about it. They're tired of being rolled over. They're tired of being rolled on by these motherfuckers. They're going to say enough is enough, you know? So that time is going to come. It's like a pressure cooker, man. You can only heat that pressure cooker up for so long before that motherfucker blows. Get a pressure cooker, cook some food in it, and leave that motherfucker whistling on full steam or full gas or whatever. Do you think it will sustain the steam? It'll keep whistling, or do you think it will blow? It's gonna fucking blow. That's what's gonna happen. All right? They're not gonna give a fuck about you fucking MPs, you so-called kings, princes, you people in authority. They don't give a shit about you. And they're gonna fight literally with swords in their hands. Sometimes with literal swords, with guns, whatever they can fucking find. They're going to try and demolish each other. Jeremiah 30 verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Jacob's trouble is everybody's trouble, but Jacob is a primary target because they want to eliminate you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And when I say black, I'm not talking about you fucking African Hamites, you Somalians, you pygmies or whatever, you Zulu people. We're talking about the so-called black man in America that you call a kata, cotton picker. You know, a black man who looks better than you. All right. We're talking about them. I know, you know, don't get it twisted. I know our people are scattered there too, but yeah, we're talking about the so-called black man in America and scattered around the four corners of the earth, Israelites in general. All right. Jeremiah 30 verse 7. Jeremiah 30 verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. The elect are going to be saved out of it. Jacob's trouble is going to be the Edomites' trouble, the Elamites' trouble, the Ishmaelites' trouble, the Moabites' trouble, the Ammonites' trouble, the head tribe of Esau, Amalekites' trouble, the Japhetic people's trouble. It's going to be everybody's trouble. But Jacob is a primary target. All right? This is going to be a bloodbath. You're hearing from our prophets on down, you know, hell about to break loose soon, hell about to break loose soon. Well, that term, hell about to break loose, 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 is like a fucking alarm. That should be resounding in your head to keep your medicine strong and stay prayed up in the spirit power of Yahweh Bashem Messiah. And I'm talking about you elect. The rest of them, they don't give a fuck. Okay, but anyway, that's prophecy. So this has to happen. And it is going to happen. All right. It's not long. All right. We are approaching September 2025. Okay. We got a couple of blood moons, I believe. The elder from GMS Lions of Rome made a video. I don't recollect the elder's name. He's from the Dallas camp, I believe. One of the prophets made a video that, yeah, there's a couple of blood moons coming in September. So things are going to heat up, man. This thing can't go on forever. There is an end game. There is a time limit to everything, man. And time is of the essence, and time is short. Anyway, all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yashai, Bashem Rakakadash, Mawatha Bad Babal, Kwam Yashrala, Shalom.